Rude. And I'll tell you what else is rude, the condition of the Aston Martin bonnet. I thought I'd pause the video here and show you what I'm looking at, because I showed this to someone recently and they couldn't see the swirls. So I know there's a lot of detailers that follow this channel and they'll have seen these pictures and videos straight away and thought, oh my goodness, the buffer trails and holograms and swirl marks over the car. Other people might look at the reflections and think that's a nice shiny car. So I'm going to turn the camera around and zoom in on the footage that you've just seen and try and kind of draw on the screen what I'm looking at, and then hopefully you will then understand what is wrong with this car and what is then so much better once it's polished. Warning, once you do see this, it will ruin your life, like it's kind of ruined my life. If you're just happy using your car, getting it muddy, wiping it off, you don't worry about this kind of dull paintwork, this isn't the channel for you, and this definitely isn't the video to watch, because yeah, it's a bit of a rabbit hole. Anyway, let me show you. Right, so what have we got here? Let's go back to the beginning of the video. And if we pause it here, you can see what I'm looking at in the reflection of this are these echoes. Now I've done a screen print of this, so let's go over into Photoshop and let's just zoom out of this and get rid of these marks again. So this is a screen print from the last image that we just saw on the video. So what am I looking at? Well, if I highlight the red line there and then take it away again, can you see where there's that echo of light coming from obviously the round circle of the bulb, and then there's an echo of light going up there. There's another one here, there's another one there that's coming off the reflection off the seam of that bonnet, there's another one down there, and there's a wider one there. In fact, if I turn all of the marks on, I've then highlighted up from this light as well. If I turn those ones off, you can just about see, and if you look back at the video of that light as well, there's this light that, or echo of the light I call it, or hologram that's moving around. So what are the holograms? So again, you've got down in this lower area between these straight lines is what I call the buffer trails, and that's literally where someone has previously machine polished the panel, and that's where they would have moved their buffer pad up and down, left and right, and they've left thousands and thousands of tiny scratches. In fact, in this area on the right, you can see them a bit more, is where it just looks dull and it's picking up the reflection of the blue light. It's actually thousands of tiny scratches, and if I go back to paintbrush, they're kind of going in this arcing fashion. That's the line that they're following. They're not actually curved lines. They're going to be straight lines. Like there's a straight line there, and there's probably a straight line there, and there's probably a straight line there, and then another one. And there's thousands and thousands of these tiny little lines. Oh, I've just moved the image, and that's from where the various compounds in the polish that are then put onto probably an old polishing pad that's got old bits of lacquer embedded into it as well, are then scoring the surface. And none of them are that deep. They're all 0.5 of a micron, let's say, a tiny amount of depth, but they're enough to cause if this is your flat paint, let's say, each one of those little scratches is a little V mark in the paint like this. And when they're so close together from when they've been applied, like I say, the polish on a polishing pad, so that they're all then going in that same direction as the polishing pad's turning around, all of those lines next to each other, the light reflects off them all simultaneously, and that's what you're getting down in this area here and that area, and on the previous image where you saw all the lines emanating from that central part of the light. This photo as well is a more zoomed out version, so if you spun further on in the video, this is where I've got the handheld light and I'm moving it around. So you can see, I haven't marked them up yet, but you can see straight away there's not just a sharp pinpoint, let's get my teeth out, pinpoint prick of a light. And if I then turn on the highlighting, so that's and turn it back off again, that's what I'm seeing, is these echoes of the light coming up from what should be just a very sharp reflection of the light. You can also then see them on the right here, there's one that comes off of this light, and on the left there's kind of an echo and a hologram on, especially this one. Look, you can see like the long tail of the hologram, top and bottom of that light. And what you should see is just a very sharp reflection, the metallic content and the colour of the paint. Okay, and this image, again, you've got, I won't highlight them, you've got the general blurring from the thousands of tiny little scratches, you've got the echo of the light moving up, but then you've also got this deeper scratch here, just next to where that red line is, and another one just next to that red line, and another one just next to that red line. I mean, these deeper scratches are possibly what the dealership or the body shop was initially trying to get out, and why there's then all these buffer trails over the bonnet, because they'd seen these deeper scratches and didn't want to let the car go out looking like that. So then they've set their best polishing guy on it with his brand new polishing pad that no doubt he hasn't got, and created all these issues that then actually look just as bad or worse than the few scratches that were there. Could have been corrected much easier. Last image is this one. This was a still image. I put this on my Instagram actually when I did the car a few weeks ago. So you've got all of the issues in this picture. You've got the deeper scratch there next to the red mark, another little deep scratch there. Then next to that red mark, or in between that red mark, you've got one of the hologram lines emanating up from the light, another one there, and in that general area you've got just then the hazing and the thousands of little deep scratches. And if we get rid of those lines and then flick between, so this is before polishing and this is after polishing, you see then there's a much sharper reflection from the light. If we go back again, how hazy it is and how all these extra echoes of light are disrupting the colour of the paint. And then after polishing, the clarity is much sharper. The colour looks the true colour of the blue that it should be, because you're not getting the colour of whatever light. If I'd got my LED set to a yellow light, all of this would look much yellower. But when it's not reflecting off one of those, where is the picture we drew? If the light's reflecting off one of these angles in the V, it's reflecting the colour of the light back to you. What it should be doing, and if I just find my paintbrush, is the light should go through the lacquer, bounce off the paint, and then come back towards your eye. When it's hitting these scratches, it's coming down, bouncing off one of those scratches, and then coming back to you at the wrong angle. So you're seeing the colour of the light rather than the colour of the paint. And we don't want that. We want the light to pass through the nice flat lacquer. And basically what we're doing when we're polishing is we're taking the layer of the paint down to below that layer of the scratches, so that this layer isn't there anymore. I can't actually delete just that layer, but yeah, then the new layer of the paint is below these scratches, and these scratches are only 0.5, 0.2, 0.3 of a micron thick. It's when you get a deeper scratch, like in this image, that scratch, that's going to be a much deeper image, that arc on the left there. That's going to be a deeper scratch that, if that's again your layer of your paint, you've got your tiny little ones that are all your marring that's disrupting the look of the paint in the holograms and the echoes. And then every now and again you might have then got one deeper scratch that's that deep, and that will be that deeper scratch there. And so, I mean, that's massively exaggerated. It probably won't be that deep. But then if you polish out to below the layer of these scratches, you'll then have nice clear paint apart from that one scratch. That one will still be visible. So that's where then it needs another hit. And in the second hit, you might get it down to there. In the third hit, you'll get it down to there. And then that's where you've got to make a judgment call and say, okay, I've taken enough paint off. I've taken this huge layer of paint off here. And if I've got one tiny little mark that's still visible through the now clear paint, then that's what you have to make a call on. Right, so I hope that explains it a bit, and now you can see what I'm showing in the videos, and it's not just me passing the light over and showing some shiny paint and you're thinking, that doesn't look as shiny as I want. These are the defects that I'm looking at. This is a brand new car. The guy picked it up from the dealership, brought it straight to us. So to have these marks on it, in my mind, is totally unacceptable, whatever value of car. I mean, this is quite an expensive Aston Martin. It's a new car, it shouldn't have these marks on it. These have been inflicted either by the dealership when they've seen some scratches, or by the production line, and trust me, the production line at Aston Martin sends out their fair share of paint defects. This one didn't have too many sanding marks, but previous Aston Martins are normally covered in DA sanding marks, where they then try and get their paint as flat and as reflective as possible. That's another story. This is after that part in the process. This is when it's been machine polished or mopped, as they call it in body shops, just very quickly, just to try and get rid of the scratches. If you have any more questions on the process, or you're not sure if your car's got these kind of marks on it, bring it in. We'll happily look over it for free for you. Send us some pictures if you can try and capture those kind of defects. But if you've got things that look like this on your car, then chances are you'll benefit from one of our machine polishing packages. CambridgeAutogleam.com, have a look on the website. Everything is under services, and then you can click on the protection detail or the enhancement detail or the correction detail. Basically, the different details are just a 1, a 2 or a 3-stage polish, depending on how much polishing we need or how much polishing you want. Back to the video.
Drinks and smoke a joint, Bubbles? Yes.
I mean, Jesus Christ, can nobody polish cars, it seems. It's the third of a run iX3, the GT Black Series, and then this, that have all been brand new cars with really shocking paintwork. iX3, 65,000. The Black Series 325 list, I think. So, and then this 110, 120. I'm not too sure how much a convertible new Aston Martin is, but even if it was a 10, 20,000 pound car, I mean, that's what the guy with the iX3 said. That his wife, I think it was a Mazda 3 or something, run of the mill and cheap cars are still expensive, but something run of the mill had been handed over in better condition than his iX3. I don't know if this is factory or body shop or dealership. The bonnet and the boot lid on this are the worst. The doors, there's polishing marks along the top, and the lower doors are okay. Lovely colour underneath once it's polished. That's the really depressing thing and upsetting thing about Aston Martins, is that once they're polished, they've got some of the nicest paint out there on the in the industry. Lovely deep colours. I don't know if they put more lacquer on than other people, or just the paint is a more expensive paint blend or something, I'm not sure, but really lovely colours once it's done and once it's polished properly, but handing over like that, just unacceptable. Quick good morning, it's Wednesday, the Aston Martin is complete. I'm feeling a lot more cheerful, mainly because the Aston Martin is complete. Bit of a tricky one, you saw how bad the paint was, but also mega soft paint, so that as we were applying the coating, Crystal Serum Ultra in this instance, tiny little lines coming back into it, so we had to stop a couple of times, repolish sections, make sure our suede applicators were perfectly clean again, and then reapply. Managed to get it on without any marks, but I think it's going to be a tricky one for the customer to look after. I'll run through some wash tips with him. So I'll show you around the car now. It's come up really nice, great looking paint on these Aston Martins when they are polished well, as I've said. That's about it. I've had the wheels off, showed you Tom doing those. They've been done with Gtechniq C5. Glass and interior just had the basic treatment. But yeah, it's new car, finally looking like a new car. Let me show you around it. We're working on a 991 Turbo S today, so I'll probably include a little bit of footage of us working on that, or just the finished result as well. Thank you very much for watching the video. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe if you want, tell us what you don't like if you don't like it, and we'll see you on the next one.